Hello and welcome back to the Empowered Business Show. It is great to be here with all of our wonderful viewers on the Empowered Living community once again. David, it's great to see you, my friend.
Hey, great to see you as well, Hayden. I know that you not long ago got back from some holiday, as you guys say over there, and great to see you again. I'm sure you're feeling pretty refreshed right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's part of what we want to talk about today is just
It
we've all
is.
had this time to take a break from the grind of business over the
Mhm.
summer. In my case, I had a lovely holiday, but just taking time out. It tends to be that kind of lull that we have in the August time. And September always seems to be that starting of new things, doesn't it? We're
Yeah.
so ingrained and programmed through our upbringing that September's the start of the academic year. We go to new schools or new college years. So it feels like it's really fresh, and that's how I'm certainly feeling. What about you, David? How are you feeling after the kind of summer
Yeah.
pause?
Yeah, absolutely. I absolutely love this time of year because, like you said, it does feel like to me it's a lot of it's a lot like the first of the year, but this
Mm.
feels like the kind of like the shift so that we can get into the last quarter and we can get that momentum so that we can take that into the new year. I always love this last part of the year after the summer, get a little bit of a break, and now we can kind of get a big push now for the end of the year. So yeah, I absolutely love this time of year.
Yeah, and I've been talking to a lot of coaches who I work with and people in my community, and there is this sense of the fact that people have needed this little pause. I think it's been pretty
Yeah,
unrelenting, as we've talked about many times on the show.
yeah,
And they've had this pause, but people are now coming back with this real desire to give
hmm,
it another push. And that's
yeah,
why today we want to talk about this whole concept of 0 to 1, something we're going to be
hmm,
talking more about over the coming weeks in
yeah,
this community. Um, of how do you go from that place where it's a bit of a struggle? We've
hmm,
both been there, right? So we've
yep,
both been there in our
absolutely,
business, a couple of times in my business for various
yeah,
reasons,
right,
where you just feel like no matter what you're doing, it nothing seems to be working.
hmm,
You never quite get that feeling like it's becoming easier,
yeah,
and it is that, and it can feel like a daily grind. It can feel like you're having to hustle all the
mhm,
time.
right,
So that's what we want to talk about today is that feeling, and how do you move from that place of going where everything feels like a hustle to a
hmm,
place where actually we used the word momentum before coming on the show. How do you get to
yeah,
that place of momentum? So, Dave, what are some of the things that you kind of recall from your own experience? Because, you
yeah,
know, I know you've been there. We've had
yep,
conversations previously about that. So,
yeah,
what are
absolutely.
some of the things you remember from that time?
Yeah, so, one of the things that I remember mostly is that I was saying yes to everything. And I know that that's kind of a common theme, a common misunderstanding that in business we have to be doing all of these things. We have to be doing. And really for me, it was a shift in my mindset so that I actually created space on my calendar. And I knew that there were certain times where that was a no. If somebody wanted time on a Monday, for example, Mondays are my time to create and
Mm,
to write and to create content for my groups and my clients. And so the first thing that I recall was just a shift in my own mindset. And I think that getting this, 0 to 1, it's a shift in our mindset. It's starting within ourselves, and it's beginning to learn and assess what we need to say no to, what isn't serving us, and what do we need to say no to. I know that one of the things, and this has been a few years ago now, that I was involved in networking groups, and I was in going every week to these networking groups. And I really, at one point, I assessed whether or not that was really useful for me,
mm,
or whether it was giving me any results. And at the end of the day, I loved it. I loved the people. I loved the social interaction, but really it wasn't moving my business forward. And so I had to say, that's one thing that I'm going to take out of my weekly schedule, and I'm going to replace that with something that I feel is going to move me forward. And
yeah.
so I guess, just to kind of start the conversation off, I mean, that is what I had to do. First and foremost, there was a shift in my mindset, recognizing that I don't have to do all of these different things, and more effort wasn't going to get me more results. As a matter of fact, what's interesting is the less I do, the more I make. And that's a mantra that from somebody that I follow and I've worked with, that it seems so foreign, because my upbringing in business was, man, from the early morning till late at night, hustle, grind,
Hustle.
all of that kind of stuff. Yeah. So I guess, for me, it was starting with that mindset shift. What about you, Hayden? How, where have you seen your shift, or what was the start for you to go from 0 to 1?
It's pretty similar, actually. So I think the thing that I see a lot of business owners do, and I absolutely did this, was you look around yourself because you're struggling.
Yeah.
And you see other people who seem to be thriving. And you kind of look at it, well, what are they doing? What are the things that they're doing? And then you kind of go chasing after what they're doing. And, like you, I end up going and do networking groups because that's what everybody else seemed to be doing. And they all seem to be kind of sharing all the great successes they had around doing it. And then you go and you kind of spend some time there and you don't get the same level of success because it's not, you're kind of trying to mimic them rather than doing it for yourself. So for me, what was really important, and it kind of comes from a mentor that I've worked with as well, it's the quality of your thinking that matters, not the quality of the effort or the amount of effort you put in. And really understanding your own business, understanding the game that you're playing rather than trying to play everybody else's game.
Yeah.
Trying to do what everybody else does because you see all these people expressing their results and saying how great they are and all that, and great for them. If they're being successful doing it, fantastic. We're here to celebrate all the great businesses that are out there. But just because somebody else is doing it, it's working for them, it doesn't mean it's necessarily going to work for you. So that was the big thing for me, is getting really centered on who I am as a business owner, my business, my unique niche that I serve, the real clients I want to work with, and getting really focused on understanding that was a big thing, and to stop doing everything and stop trying to be everything to everyone.
Yes.
And that's what I definitely found myself doing. And again, of course, that leads you to accepting that, well, this might not appeal to some people, but that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I think that as I reflect back, one of the things I did was just ask myself 3 questions. What do I need to stop doing? What do I need to start doing? And then what do I need to keep doing? And those 3 questions really helped me to clarify those things that I needed to do. But more importantly, it was really around who I needed to be and what I needed to say yes to, what I needed to say no to. And I think that helped me then. And let me even just pause by saying a step before that. One of the things I started to do as well is I got more clear, like you just said, get clear on me, get clear on who I am as a business owner. Who do I serve? What problems do I solve? And then how do I solve them? Because each one of us are unique. I mean, if you're a coach, if you're a consultant, if you're a solopreneur that serves in some way, we have a unique way to do that. Each one of us is so unique, and that's the beauty of this community. This beauty of humanity, really.
Absolutely.
And so we have to get clear on who we are as a person, who we are as a business owner, and who we serve and how we do it. And I think that is really a key to this process of going from 0 to 1 and going from being stuck, overworked, and really frustrated to actually feeling like you've got some momentum and feeling like you've got some things moving. And I know that we'll be talking more about that in a little bit, but I think that's a key.
Yeah, and it's work that you continue to do. So I was recently with my coach, and we were up in Scotland where he lives, and we were walking around, and he pointed in the distance at a particular mountain. I can't remember the name of it because it was a Scottish name, but it's got a quite unique shape. And he said, no matter where you are, whichever direction you're coming into that mountain, it's that mountain because it's got this unique shape. It's got this unique edge to it. And he said, what's your unique shape?
Yeah.
That wherever
Yeah.
direction people are coming to you from,
Yeah.
however they're accessing what you do, they
Mhm.
should be able to mark out what you stand for. What is it that you offer? Because you're
Yeah.
right, we've got these unique abilities as individuals.
Mhm.
You and I do very similar things and work in a very similar way with our clients.
Right.
But the experience with you will be very different from the experience with me,
Right. Right.
because you
Absolutely.
have your gifts and talents that you're absolutely brilliant at, and I have mine,
Yep.
and they're, whilst they're similar, they're not the same, and that's the bit. So I love
Yeah.
what you say. Really understand what your unique talents are, because the other thing that I discovered when I went through my growth in the business was, the more I did the things that I'm uniquely talented at,
Mhm.
where I can really bring the best of myself, the
Yeah.
more I enjoyed it,
Yes, absolutely.
because I was doing what I
Absolutely.
loved with
Yes.
clients that I love, having
Yes.
an impact in a way that I love, and it felt like it was a lot more fun. It's more enjoyable. You're making a bigger difference for people.
Mhm.
Um, whereas there are other things that we end up doing
Mhm.
where you do the work because you need the money ultimately. You're
Mhm.
trying to keep the business going,
Yep.
so you take on board you say yes to it, and then as you say yes to it, you end up doing work that doesn't fulfill you with joy, doesn't
That's right.
make you feel ecstatic, where it becomes a bit of a chore.
Right.
And that's where we start to feel stuck, and we start to feel really low on energy.
Mhm.
Um, and whilst we appreciate the dollars in the bank, we start to almost kind of regret taking that business on, or
Yeah,
almost kind of have that negative aspect to it.
absolutely.
So I think that bit around, if you are somebody who's out there right now, and we've both been there, we know
Been
how
there.
tough it is,
Mhm.
where you're worried about where the next kind of client's going to come from. You're worried about whether you're going to be able to cover your mortgage costs at the end of the month,
Mhm.
or your rent costs, or to, if you've got team members, to pay your team members.
Yeah.
If you're in that place, it's so important that you just try and pause and really focus on what are your unique gifts and talents.
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to ask you, Hayden, in that process for you, did you do any exercises? Did you have any process that you walked yourself through, or your coach walked yourself through, in really getting that clarity?
Yeah, for me, it was really thinking about. There was a process I went through, which was to record all the different things that I did in the business.
Mm-hmm.
Really, really simple. And then there were 3 columns to rate them by,
Mm-hmm.
which was the um, the trying to get what the columns are. So it's profit was one of them, which is
Yep.
the one which was most valuable
Mm-hmm.
to. Uh, Kind of, we labeled it skill,
Uh-huh.
but which was, did I feel most capable of doing? What was
Sure.
my capability that matched my capability well? And then the other one was joy.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
3 columns, which were the most profitable,
Yeah.
which were you most capable at,
Sure.
and were within your wheelhouse, I guess, in terms of your skill area.
Mm-hmm.
And then the third one was joy, which one brought you the most joy,
Yeah.
and rating each of those services and areas that I worked in, all
Yeah.
the different things that I could do against those 3 criteria, and scoring just simple out of 10.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then seeing, okay, well, of all of these areas, which are the ones get the highest score out of 30
Yeah.
overall. And then where you've got some ties, you might have something that's really profitable and something that gives you more joy. They might have the same score, but which
Yeah.
one, in your heart, which one makes your heart sing?
Yeah.
And sometimes you have to give up the money for something that really gives you the passion, because those are the things that you really love. So that was a
Mhm.
technique, because I certainly,
It's great.
when I started out, I was trying to do, so I am, we know by now, we've talked about my why is better way.
Yeah.
I am the proverbial magpie. I'm always coming up with new ideas. I can always see a new opportunity.
Yep.
I don't really like routine.
Yeah.
Um, I understand it from a habits perspective, but I don't really like it. So if there's something new to go and do, or a new idea, I
Sure.
was off trying to do everything. And if you'd have looked at my business, you would have had no idea what my mountain looked like,
Mm-hmm.
because I was
Yeah.
just trying to do everything.
Yeah. And it's so funny that you say that, because that I was the exact same way. I mean, I love new ideas. I come up with, ideas by the moment. I actually have an Evernote file full of ideas that come to me on my runs or my hikes or what have you. And I had to literally be able to, and actually one of my mentors told me, start a parking lot and just create that note. You'll come back to it. Some of those you'll never do. Some of them, they may sound great, but what I did then is I focused on what is my product ascension ladder. What did that look like? What were the products that I really, kind of very similar to what you described in your exercise? What made my heart sing? What really helped me to feel like I was fulfilled? And then focused on those one or two things to begin with, and not try to do everything. I think that that's one of the things that, especially people who are either starting out, maybe they're plateaued, maybe they've had a little bit of a struggle to get really started and feel like they've got that momentum. I think that that's often what happens, is there are too many things that we see, we think we need to do. We need to post on social media. We need to go to networking meetings. We need to do this. We need to do that. And really, we need to focus. I mean, at the end of the day, I think you and I probably will both agree, we have to focus. We have to focus on just the one thing, and then the next thing. And so focus, I think, and our attention is probably our most precious resource next to energy.
Completely. And I think the thing that I've learned over the time is also discipline.
Yes.
And it's not the discipline of having to show up every day, because I was showing up every day all the time.
Right.
I was never somebody who was afraid to put the hours in or put the effort in. But the discipline for me was to keep on focusing on the same thing again, have the discipline that says, no, yes, that's a shiny new object over there, but we're going to focus on this because that's what we've committed to. And have that discipline to keep doing that, keep doing it to the extent that everything else you remove from there. And that's what's made the real difference for my business, is that ability to stay disciplined with a process that I trust, that I've seen success with, and to keep that discipline and keep working at it, and keep refining to move forward to 100%. The point where you start to see things going. So
yeah, 100%. Yeah. And as you talk about discipline, I think for me, and you said it just maybe a little differently, but like for me, my discipline was discipline to say no, and discipline to say, that's not in my wheelhouse. I'm not going to do that project, or I'm not going to go forward with that. And quite frankly, the discipline to shut things off, and to be able to go through a shutdown ritual and have a habit where I go through a process to where I shut down. I work out of my home, and so I have an office, and it's so easy to be able to just kind of let things hang and walk by, and maybe go out and say hello to the family, and then come back in here. And I've learned that, so part of my shutdown routine is I'll raise my blinds so that my blinds are, well, I guess I closed, but I closed my blinds. And so that's part of it. And so, but that's part of my discipline as well. And so I think that those are things that in our discipline, we have to learn to say no. We have to learn to stay focused. And as you said, focus on those things over and over and over again. And that's what will give us that momentum.
Yeah, completely. And the other thing that happens is we know the law of attraction. So the things that we're inviting into our life, we get more of.
Yes.
And one of the things I found when I first started out is I was taking jobs left, right, and center, from saying yes to everything because that's what you kind of thought I needed to do to get the money coming in. But what I found was the things I was saying yes to that I wasn't really enjoying, because I'd said yes to them, I was getting more of them.
Yeah.
And so you start getting lots and lots of requests to do things that actually you don't really want to do, but you feel like you have to do it because you need the money. And it becomes this real, that creates its own momentum.
Right.
But it's not a good momentum.
Yeah.
So when you start to say yes to the things that you really care about and you really love and you're really focused on, you will see more of that coming to you.
Yeah.
And you've got to create the space and time. I was having a conversation this week with a coach friend of mine who's also challenged with some of these she's got a little bit of a contract that she's working on that's not quite kind of filling her with the joy, and because she's so consumed with that, she can't take on other stuff. So she's in this real catch-22 of, well, I kind of, the money's there, but I'm not really enjoying it, and then I'm not able to take advantage of other opportunities.
Right.
And she this week has decided to make that brave decision that says, I'm going to have to cut that off. I'm going to have to close the door on that, just like you said, to open the door for other things to come in. And that's again, it's a really courageous decision that you have to make, but we've all done it. We've all had to do that to get to the success that we're now achieving. So being willing to call an end to things that are no longer serving you is super important.
Well, and I think it's part of building an empowered business, and that's really what we're talking about here, is being empowered and having that agency to say no to the wrong things, and being empowered to say yes to the right things is so liberating. And it's really like you're taking your power back, and you're saying, look, I'm not going to go down this road anymore, where I'm going to take the shotgun approach, where I'm going to shoot at everything. I've got all of these different things going on, and I'm going to funnel it and focus my effort, focus my energy, focus my unique giftings. And that's what I believe building an empowered business is all about. And so I think that's where we can really gain that momentum, going out from being stuck to feeling like we've got some progress and some forward progress.
Yeah, 100%. So this is going to be a topic that we're going to come back to over the next few weeks and really kind of hone in on this. How do we go from 0 to 1? We've given a few ideas of some of our own experiences, but we're really going to unpick this a little bit for people out there, because we know there are people, coaches, consultants who are just so full of heart and so full of passion and have a great gift that they want to bring to their clients, but they're not finding a way to break through and find enough of those clients, or to make it to the point where they can fulfill that brilliance that they have. So we want to kind of try and help and share some of our own thoughts and ideas, and maybe bring some guests on as well who can help with some of that thinking too, to really support those people over the next couple of weeks. So that's going to be a bit of a theme for us as we run through the back end of this year, is how do we start to create the flywheel or the momentum and get that to 0 to 1 and then onwards to multiples, which is what we're all striving for. So that's going to be our focus for the next few weeks.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, looking forward to this little section as we're sharing some of our experience and what we have seen that helps businesses and leaders like those of us here in our community.
Absolutely. David, it's been great to see you again, to hear some of your own experiences. Looking forward to hearing more over the coming weeks. So thank you so much again, my friend. And
thank you, my friend.
A wonderful week, and we'll see you again next time.
Sounds great. See you then.